Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Belarussian regime yesterday forced a civilian aeroplane belonging to Ryanair on a flight from Athens to Vilnius to divert to Minsk airport minutes before it entered Lithuanian airspace. On landing, a well-known Belarusian blogger, Roman Patrzykiewicz, was detained. Representatives of the Polish government have described the diversion of the plane, which involved the use of Belarusian military aircraft, as a hijacking and an act of state terrorism. On Sunday, a Ryanair Sun flight from Athens to Vilnius was forced to land in Minsk. The plane was intercepted by a MiG-29 fighter jet. One of the passengers was Roman Patrzykiewicz, an opposition activist, journalist and blogger. After landing, Patrzykiewicz and his girlfriend were detained by Belarusian authorities. The passengers of the flight were detained for several hours at the airport and their documents were checked. The actions of the Belarusian authorities have been described as state terrorism. There are no countries in the EU which would not condemn this attack, which would not call for measures to be taken against the regime of Alexander Łukashenko. Poland's Attorney General, Zbigniew Ziobro, has ordered an investigation into the forced landing of the plane. The Boeing 737 belongs to a Ryanair subsidiary registered in Warsaw. Professor SZEREMIETIEV stresses that Russia is behind Lukashenko's actions, and the whole situation takes place just after President Biden decided not to extend United States sanctions against the Russo-German Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. It's about Central Europe being subordinated first and foremost to Russian policy. Prime Minister MATEUSZ Morawiecki is demanding firm action against Belarus. Today, at the European Council summit, I will propose that all flights from the territory of Belarus to the EU and vice versa be stopped. In turn, today the departure of a Lufthansa flight to Frankfurt was delayed for 2 hours at Minsk airport. The airport reported that it had received an email about intentions to commit a terrorist act. The threats were not confirmed and the plane was in the end able to leave for Frankfurt. President Andrzej Duda and his wife today began an official 2-day visit to Turkey. Accompanying Andrzej Duda on this visit are, among others, Deputy Prime Minister Piotr Gliński and National Defence Minister Mariusz Błaszczak, as well as Deputy Speaker of the same Małgorzata Gosiewska. On the first day of the visit, President Duda had discussions with President Recep Erdogan covering, among others, security and the economy. The head of the Presidential Office for International Policy, Krzysztof Szczerski, said that they concerned particularly security and cooperation within the North Atlantic Treaty Alliance in the context of the NATO summit to be held in Brussels in mid-June. A number of trade agreements were also signed, including one for the purchase of 24 Turkish Bayraktar TB2 unmanned combat aerial vehicles. The Arctic Council has met in Ireland for its annual summit. With a warming climate, melting more Arctic ice cover and global industries eager to exploit the region for shipping, fishing, drilling and mining, as well as China's increased interest in the area, the summits are becoming more and more important for world affairs. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken are among representatives from 8 nations bordering the Arctic taking part in the biennial meeting. The others are Canada, Finland, Norway, Denmark and Iceland, with the region's indigenous populations also represented. This year marked the 25th anniversary of the Arctic Council, which is the leading intergovernmental forum for cooperation, coordination and interaction among the countries on the common Arctic issues, in particular on sustainable development and environmental protection.
From the start, the Council has focused on the well-being of the inhabitants of the Arctic and has been at the forefront of the positive and constructive international cooperation that has contributed so greatly to a region characterized by peace and stability.
Over the last 2 years, host country Iceland has emphasised 4 priority areas: the Arctic marine environment, climate and green energy solutions, people and communities of the Arctic, and a stronger Arctic Council. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that the region needs to remain peaceful.
We're committed to advancing a peaceful Arctic region where cooperation prevails on climate, the environment, science and safety, and where sustainable economic development benefits the people of the region themselves.
Interest in the Arctic region has increased recently, with countries scrambling to boost their presence in the region, something Blinken also noted.
Our cooperation has become stronger. At the same time, the Arctic, as a region for strategic competition, has seized the world's attention. But the Arctic is more than a strategically or economically significant region. It's home to our people. Its hallmark has been and must remain peaceful cooperation. It's our responsibility to protect that peaceful cooperation and to build on it as neighbors and as partners.
China has had observer status at the Council since 2013 and has been increasingly active in the region. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is facing increased criticism for his inability to contain the gang-fueled violence which is plaguing the election campaign ahead of the vote that will decide which political forces will control the lower house of Congress, 15 governorships and hundreds of city halls. On May the 13th, Abel Murrieta, running for mayor of Ciudad Obregón, became the 83rd politician to be murdered since September, when he was shot at point-blank range while handing out campaign flyers. The political bloodshed, which started last autumn, is reaching a climax ahead of the midterm election scheduled for the 6th of June. The violence has cast a shadow over the incumbent president, who is held responsible for what is described to be one of the bloodiest election campaigns in Mexico's recent history. This is a difficult time because of the campaigns, because of the interest generated in the regions, and we have to protect the candidates. Today we are analysing everything that is being done. There are many security officers protecting candidates. We will continue doing it. It will continue to be carried out. The bloodshed has directed the public debate to the president's weak stance on fighting the drug gangs, eroding the once commanding lead of his leftist national regeneration movement in the contest. A deplorable fact, but it is totally the responsibility of the president for not having imposed a new security policy as needed, and continued the one he criticised so much, which began with President Calderón and which Obrador continues to support. The president states that 400 complaints or investigations relating to electoral violence have been made and that 148 candidates have received protection. Still, as studies show, most murders go unsolved in Mexico. The attacks against the candidates are only the surface of the violence that is being exercised. There are threats, there are various acts of intimidation, many of which are kept quiet by the candidates. There are not such showy interventions, but they can be very insidious in the process, which can determine the outcome of the election in some places. Political assassinations are up by more than a third from the last midterm vote in 2015, when 61 were recorded over 9 months. The death toll comprises party members and those who sought or who have held public office. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.